I speak hopefully for all of you in recognizing that we really had a very high-level discussion with some of the people really living at the intersection of these issues, whether in technology or academia or companies. We probably just scratched the surface on each of these issues. We could have done an entire day probably on each of these challenges, and I think that perhaps shows that there's an appetite in the community, all of us who are dealing with the good and bad, the opportunities and risks of technology, to really see if there's an opportunity to explore. So we wanted to take just a couple of minutes, first of all, to thank the Tel Aviv University and the center and so forth for being our incredibly gracious hosts today, our panelists who came from Europe and from the US and throughout Israel for being with us, Intel and Palantir who helped support and subsidize the effort. But we want to put you on the hook because there's no free lunch. You had free lunch, so now you're paying a little bit. Give us, please, a little bit of your thoughts. Our goal is that it's nice to put on a conference once a year. Everybody has a nice time. You talk. It's intellectually stimulating, but the world doesn't change. Maybe you heard some interesting ideas, but the world changes, hopefully, when work and ideas like this lead to papers, workshops, programs, engagement with the key policymakers, the key companies, and I think there's perhaps room for that. It's a busy world, of course. There's think tanks, there's NGOs and so forth, but sometimes when you stumble on a good idea, which is that there are people in the US, in Europe, in Israel, who really deeply are struggling with how to get this right, again, at every level, in every sector, and then bringing them together and stirring it up, maybe even putting them in a room for a whole day and saying, you know, come out with a piece of paper that somehow you struggle to agree, is worth doing. So the issues we thought were interesting, Omer and I work primarily in privacy, but as you heard from a few speakers, either they said it's not really privacy or it's data privacy, which really now is eaten every other issue. It's the basis of discussion. When I look at the issues we work at the Future Privacy Forum, again, it's privacy, but it's discrimination, it's encryption, it's issues that are really more about philosophy and balance of power and how you view the world than it really is, opt in, opt out, tick boxes, are you sending me email marketing, right? That it's so however you look at it, we certainly are looking at it big. Are these the issues? Is it already crowded? So it's nice to be here today, but there's 1,000 other groups already dealing with this. We don't need another organization. Who needs another organization? We both already work at organizations, right? But it seems like maybe there is value in having an institute like this that will work with others, of course, to help advance some of these conversations. Do you agree? Awesome, that's great. I want to be involved. We talked about a couple of issues, right? Privacy, online hate, and so forth, but you missed my big issue, which is what? Really? That's where no one else is doing something. Please take this one on. I really want to be involved in that particular issue. What do you think? Yes, sir. I will call on people, by the way. So if you have a good idea, come to me before I call you.
Regarding the previous discussion.
Regarding the
previous discussion.
Yeah.
About the law thing. It raises the question for me, the question of accountability. Now, one of the problems with securing the privacy is that sometimes the net allows you to be very hidden. And the issue of accountability, the user, is not put to front. And I think that one way to deal with using the internet properly is raising the issue of accountability so that a user will know that he will be reachable everywhere he will be in case he will do bad things, felony, etc. So this means that you have to go to the infrastructure of the net and force some regulations that might promise some sort of connection between the user and instrument the location and stuff like that, so that he will know that he can be reached. This way, you can sort of force accountability of the user, and therefore you can help protect the community from, say, using also inciting.
So we have an interesting issue on the table. Encryption touched on it, but it's not really the full question. Do we want an accountable internet? What are the problems of an accountable internet? What are the advantages? We can keep the bad people in trouble and have strong protections, but also obviously we'll have people who point out that there's also some downsides to being accountable in countries around the world, in different societies. What degree of special individual autonomy has the internet enabled, even if it's not perfect? And do we want to lose it, or how do we keep some of it? So that's obviously an important and interesting issue. Other topics, other thoughts is, I think our view is that privacy, even the small privacy, how to deal with online marketing, how to deal with social media, how to deal with the challenges to privacy, given that certainly the companies in the room are going to deal with how to comply with GDPR, how to comply with the Israeli law, how to deal with these challenges. So I think we know that that's on the table. Other topics, though, that you think should be on a table that, let me even ask a show of hands. One time a year, thank you, invite us next year, we're busy. Or, there's something here, yeah, I would put me on that email list. I don't know, I come to other things. Yeah, if there was a workshop, there is a space here. Do we need an institute, an ongoing effort? Yes? Okay, and some of you are happy to come once a year, some of you are ready to be involved, or maybe they were worried, oh wait a second, is that going to come with a big bill to be the sponsor of the next program? So let's talk about it. So, okay. Any other key topic? Omer, any key thing you want to add? So let's, Toda Rabah, thank you so much. If you want to make sure you get our emails, if you go to us-israeltech.org, good domain, you can put in your email and we will spam you a little bit, but not too much.